Fantastic. We're seeing some community members rolling in. We're seeing the numbers increase. Just confirming that we're working fine on both X and YouTube, and then we'll be ready to start. We'll do a quick mic check for DNB and Anon as well.
Check 1 2 1 2.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. I'm seeing 230 live viewers across both X and YouTube, which is very, very healthy numbers indeed, and they're slowly rising as well. We'll give it one more minute, and then we'll get started. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. You're right on time for the latest State of Anyone Spaces. As usual, I'm joined by the wonderful Anon Morpho, DNB, and a couple of other voices as well, both at the back and front end of this Spaces. So thank you all very much for joining. And as usual, we're going to hand over the mic to Anon Morpho for some opening words.
Good morning, anyone. I hope you guys are all well. As always, never a dull moment in the crypto sphere with all these different macro events and wars and Trump and everything that they can throw at us. But we're still here, we're still surviving, and soon to be thriving. And what's really, really going to be the focus of today's space and the direction of anyone is going to be metrics and revenue. We're really going to start hammering home how we're going to turn this, what we've built so far, into a very viable, thriving, successful business. And that's going to start with our huge release later today, to give you a little bit of teaser, and how we're going to start going mainstream. And we're going to count on all of you to really start getting, I don't really love this word, but getting started normies. And the key to really what's going to propel our growth is getting just normal people to understand that what we build has nothing to do with just crypto. You can use our network without anything to do with the coin. And that is how we're really going to start growing, because once people see these metrics of us getting to 100,000 daily active users, I think our peak has been 30, and we have a guy on a shot at getting to 1 million daily active users, we'll become the biggest crypto project in the space. So that's what we're going to really start hammering home. And then once we get these users, once we get this growth, the next part is how we turn these users into money, into revenue, into growth for the protocol. And that's going to be a beautiful thing for people who are running the relays, both virtual and hardware. Obviously, the bigger emphasis is going to be on hardware. We want people who are buying these machines to not only have private internet at their home, a private VPN at their home, a private onion network at home, but we want you guys to be earning rewards and money and revenue from what we built, because it's not just us building this, it's all of us building this together. That's the whole purpose of this project is growth and strength and community sharing in the rewards. That's why we had the famous break from Tor. They didn't believe in this vision, but we know all of you guys do. And that's really what the goal of all this is going to be. So the next big focus is going to be on how we're going to convert normal people out in the world to join this beautiful protocol that we built that protects their privacy, that runs fast, that anybody can use, and share the rewards with anyone. And that's really how we're going to play into it. With the current world affairs that are going on, I don't think it's ever been more time and more relevant to be supporting a privacy protocol, to be supporting privacy and AI, to supporting freedom of communication without being spied upon. And that's how we're really going to be at the forefront here. And we're really, really excited to share some of these updates with you guys. And I think you're really, really going to be excited. And I'm going to pass it back to Naradic, and I'll speak to you guys again at the end of this presentation.
Thank you very much, Anand. So a few sort of general updates, roadmap updates. What's the focus from myself and Naradic? I think maybe to take a little bit of a step back, it's clear that last year was very much the year for us of network growth. It was only at the beginning of 2024 that the network went live, and very quickly, with the efforts of our community, with the targeted incentives, and honestly, the immense talent in being able to set up servers in so many places around the world, we've grown to what is now undisputably one of the largest onion networks in the world. And of course, network growth is still a key focus. A couple of weeks ago, we rolled out the first of what will hopefully be many major reward increases, particularly for hardware, but with almost all relay operators seeing around a 20 or 30% increase in the total tokens available for them. We rolled out the reward increase. We've successfully now shipped out those hardware devices that formed part of the sales at the end of last year and beginning of this year. And there is countless efforts being made on the protocol as well that I'll get to in a little bit. But really, the focus for us this year is on adoption. And that's why we made the decision as a team that we needed usable, unique, flagship apps that are built around the Anyone network that'll sort of form the first use cases and bring in our first sort of mass onset of users. I'd like to thank all of the community members that are currently testing the numerous consumer apps that are gearing up to go live. Many people have helped us with the iOS browser app and brought that to completion, and many more now are part of our Windows and Mac OS desktop groups as we test out those VPNs as well. I think as part of building these consumer apps, I kind of want to give a quote that I sort of build by, which is really build things that you yourself want to use. And I think that's been a really big part, especially for me personally, with this desktop app. It's as much about censorship resistance and evading controls as it is about privacy for me, because I know the inconvenience of using a VPN, going to some sites that sort of automatically detect and block them, other sites that force you to change your country, yet more sites that have their performance impacted by using a VPN. We are the first, major consumer desktop VPN app that lets you set different rules for different sites in a more dynamic way than any other VPN app. You can decide, I want to do 2 hops for this website. When I go onto my Binance or my KuCoin, I want to do 1 hop. The individuals in the testing group can see some of these features and play around them. And I think that's a big part of building genuinely better products backed by a network and creating things that really no one else can. It's only in Web3 that you can create a network that's this decentralized to allow these kind of use cases. And so the recent development for our team has very much been on those apps, and there is a bit of an update to be shared there. If you are in the wait list to be testing out the desktop VPN app, do give a shout out in the community chat. We are actually planning on accepting the next 20 to 30 testers for both Windows and Mac. We've also recently introduced Intel for slightly older Macs and looking at Linux as well, so we can cover all operating systems. And Ben Earhart, who has built out our iOS browser, is now shifting his focus. If you've been following the GitHub, you can see that we created an SDK for Android, and that is actually purpose-built for an Android app as well. So, from just a few months ago when really it wasn't too easy to use the network, we're rounding out now in a position where no matter what device you have, it's easy to connect to anyone. It's not just about, using it as a VPN. It's also about evading censorship and accessing websites on the Anyone network. In fact, it's on that point, the hidden services, which I think hasn't seen too much love recently, that I have a bonus update that's particularly of interest for those running hardware relays. I am going to add now to the stage, and just give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can see it. Reka, our wonderful, wonderful QA and tech member, who has currently shared his screen to an Anyone hardware. And we're releasing or showing you a feature that we actually haven't spoken about at all, but I think is very, very important in censorship resistance. Reka here is logged into that relayup.local. It's the control panel that's hosted directly from your device at home. And we're about to show you the feature that allows you to host a hidden service directly from the hardware from your home. And in a little bit, I'll tell you why that's so important, but onto the demo. So we've now added an entire file management system to the hardware, which you can access from this upcoming hidden service page. You can see the prompt there to drag and drop your web files. They do have a specific format, but you can otherwise, host websites that have animations, have JavaScript, have PHP, and do anything that any other website can. You just need to drag and drop those files onto this page. And as you do so, in this case, they've already been dropped, I believe. You click apply, you click save, and as with any other update with the hardware, you click reboot. And within minutes, it spins up an Anyone client specifically for hosting the site and allows you, so long as you keep the hardware up and running, to serve this website over the Anyone network. Why is this so important? Really, at least from my point of view, hosting a website from your home is sort of a lost art on the internet. People don't do that anymore when they used to a lot. And I think a big reason for that is it almost becomes quite trivially easy to see who's hosting it. If the server's in your house, you're sort of revealing your location, where you are, opening yourself up for attack. With an Anyone hidden service, nobody, not you, not a provider, not an intermediary, nobody in this entire chain over the internet knows where you are and where you're hosting from. So whether you're hosting a blog post, whether you're hosting, critical information, whether you're uploading your own findings as a journalist, or simply things that you find interesting but don't want linked to your identity, you can do that from your device, from this box. We're here building hardware that goes further than any other deepened project in actually bringing utility to the home. And this is a big, big part of it. Just as part of the demo now, I think Reka is ready to demonstrate the default web page that all hardware operators are actually going to be able to see and interact with on their device. Here it is, a beautiful new analytics page for your hardware. You can see in real time the inflow and outflow of packets. It's similar to Nix. If for the more technical operators, you may have to dig into your hardware to find that. It's now available in a much more accessible fashion, hosted directly from your relay. So you can see here that there is a .anon link. Reka is very kindly hosting this on his own hardware, but for the next day or so, you'll be able to see the site yourself. I'll share it in the development chat right now. And host a website just like this with animations, with features, and many more directly from the device. So it's a huge surprise release. We're here to be at the forefront of consumer crypto, and I think building genuine products that you can't get elsewhere is a big, big part of that. So thank you very much, Reka, for the demonstration. That's the new and upcoming hidden service feature for the hardware. The other sort of roadmap point I'll get onto before moving on to some other voices is on staking and on mainnet. It may be not entirely clear to all community members, but we kind of decided that with the introduction of staking, rather than adding it as a feature of the current testnet, because it involves essentially rewriting all the EVM contracts, adding all the new logic on AO, that we sort of time it with what we call mainnet. And so staking is now running in stage and actually has been for a good amount of time, and will be soon opening up to more community members to be able to test that. But to deliver staking and bring it live, we have been undergoing the full infrastructure upgrades that we actually were presented in an audit we conducted a few months ago, so that the entire system is robust enough so that as staking comes, we very quickly transition to mainnet after that. And I think that's quite important when you do have new use cases for the token. You now are not only able to lock it for a relay, but also delegate it to another family, earn rewards. For the sort of convenience of the community as well, we have decided here to bring it in with the mainnet. And so if you follow our Medium, if you follow our GitHub, you can see the litany of infrastructure improvements we're bringing. The truth is, and we've seen for even really quite relatively small amounts of money at risk. There is an influx of threats that come, especially when it, if your servers and infrastructure make that vulnerable. And so it's very, very important to us to build a world-class infrastructure, which we've done so. And we'll continue to share updates on that, and in parallel share the staking updates as the weeks go on. But it should be very, very soon, actually, that as community members, you can go in and play around with that new staking interface. In fact, I will very briefly, if possible, share my own screen with what is, I'd like to think, the slightly more slick dashboard with the staking features involved. It'll be a little bit of a step up as well in complexity, because you now have tokens not only in your own wallet, but in what we call the contract. And from there, whether you're claiming relay rewards, claiming staking rewards, delegating or locking, you do it all from one place. And so the idea here is to keep the tokens within the circulation of the ecosystem and sort of away from your own wallet. And you can see here, just as a sort of teaser, you have the list of operators, either families, people running their nodes. You can stake to them. When you unstake, it'll now be a cooldown period when, of course, you won't be earning rewards, and a whole host of other features as well, and new terminology to get used to. But it's all for the best. It's all to bring in what will hopefully be a huge increase in tokens actually locked up and used in the protocol. And it also sets the stage for what Anon mentioned earlier, which is revenue. The idea being here that by staking your tokens, by strengthening the network, you are entitled to a portion of the total, genuine income earned by the relays in the network. And so that is a value accrual back to the tokens, a value accrual back to the stakers. Obviously, our focus now is on users, especially with these apps. But the long-term vision is very, very clear that all the value that this network brings, and don't forget, the customer base for this network is the entire internet, the billions of internet users. All of that value is to go to the stakers and to the token. And that's a very, very important part of how we've built this from the beginning. So thank you for putting through or sitting through a lot of technical updates. I'll maybe lighten things up a little bit and bring in DNB to espouse on these a little bit, and also share some more about our reach out and our vision.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing all that. As they always say, stake it to make it. I love protocols where you can put your tokens to work, which sort of takes the edge off bearish market conditions, which I'm sure we're all aware of. I love that staking mechanism that was just shown there is also very good for ensuring the health and integrity of the network. And as Naradic said, supply shock is always a good thing from a token holder's perspective. We also did, you may have saw that there was an announcement with one of our large DePIN partners, Peak. They have announced staking on their network, and I would highly recommend everyone checks out that tweet. As Peak staking, you'll be able to bridge your tokens to the Peak network and again earn passive income, accumulate more tokens via that. The team has been at work. Obviously, all the code is open source. You can see the developers working, but on a more commercial side, the business development team has been hard at work. You may have seen that some of the team were in Vegas for the Bitcoin convention. A photograph with Ross, who was the founder of Silk Road, who recently got pardoned by President Trump. The team had the opportunity to speak to him and actually give him a hardware node. So that was obviously a great honor for the team members who were able to do that. And other key industry leaders have also been given hardware, which I won't disclose those names yet. But yes, very exciting. Privacy's never been more relevant. And the team made really good contacts on the ground. Business development partners and marketing is obviously very important. What I like about this Peak staking feature, it's just another example of how anyone doesn't just partner for the sake of partnering, very strategic about their partnerships and ensure that there's interoperability between the tech stacks. So we were native on ETH. You can now bridge your tokens to Peak. So again, whenever any of these decisions are done, it obviously goes through a very strict due diligence process to make sure it's healthy and good for the ecosystem and the token. So again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. It's always great to see so many familiar names in the comments, and thanks for all your continued support.
Thank you very much, DNB. So without further ado, on to what I think is the biggest announcement and release of the Spaces, and let me share my screen for it. As of, in fact, just today, we're very, very pleased to report that Anyone browser has been approved and added to the iOS App Store for both iPhone and iPad. We've been added actually and whitelisted for all countries, all eligible countries, including China, which I think is huge. Not all apps get that. The app is now live. If you're here watching, whether you're on your mobile, whether you're on computer, so long as you have an Apple device, check out the App Store. The app is now live to install and use. It is the fast, free onion routing browser. Obviously, all traffic is routed through the Anyone network, and there are a host of privacy features, including automatic internet history deletion, including the ability to masquerade as a different operating system or a different device, including the ability to set your settings and the privacy you want, see your circuits and where you are in the world as you route. It's a beautiful, slick introduction page and advertising page, and we're very, very pleased that we're able to release this as Anyone protocol, officially the foundation for anyone who has the full copyright on the app, to be able to be approved by the iOS App Store, to have the technology we built acknowledged, accepted, and distributed to people all around the world is huge. And I think this is a huge step forward in moving us away from the niche sort of technical and towards the mainstream, because we're really out here competing, I think, with every other browser in delivering the privacy experience that people want. Let me drop this link now in the development channel. You can also find it yourself just by searching Anyone browser from the iOS App Store. I'm not sure if it's live in all countries, but it seems to be. Please check it out. Please install. You're the pioneers here. While I keep that page open, I think this is the time to truly celebrate really the number one person who's made this happen. You may not know the acronym TLA, but you hopefully will by the end of the Spaces. TLA here stands for Benjamin Earhart, who built the original Onion browser for iOS and was part of that team, and has been helping us over the past year release some of our apps as well. So, Benjamin, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for the invitation.
I see that you've put your moniker on this, underneath your name just as programmer, which I really think is an understatement for what is really the one-man genius shop that can take really some concepts and make a live app very quickly. So congratulations. I mean, how do you feel actually about the countries we got approved for this app? Because I know it was a bit of a surprise to you.
Oh yeah, yeah, I wouldn't expect it to stay that way really, because at some point in time Chinese authorities are probably getting behind it and tell Apple to kick it off, and then we're not going to come back without a license. And we only get the license if we build in backdoors, and I very much hope so we don't. And I especially will not help with that. But yeah, in the meantime, it's also a solution for the Chinese people. I'm not so worried about other countries, but Chinese are really ugly in that way.
Well, we'll proliferate it while we can, and hopefully find new ways to distribute this app, maybe more for Android than iOS in the future as well. The app itself, I think I actually didn't know this until you'd actually shared the test flight version with me, that this is more than just a browser that routes all traffic over the Anyone network, although that is, of course, the huge feature. It does have some of these other properties to help sort of mask what you're doing. I mentioned them in brief, but I wonder if you could share some of these in more detail, in particular, changing your OS or your device type, or even the search engine you use.
Yeah, I mean, in general, like anonymity, it's not just about IP addresses. So like that's the thing where Anyone network helps you to hide your IP address. But of course, if you log into Facebook, then Like you gave up your anonymity anyway. So we tried to create a browser which helps you in other ways, so you're not getting found out who you are. This has limits, though. We have to admit this is especially on the iOS or platform. We do need to use the WebKit engine. On the other hand, that helps with anonymity because you're not distinguishable by that, because all browsers need to use the WebKit engine. But it also comes with a lot of limitations because the WebKit engine doesn't let us set a lot of things. But all we can do, we add it into any one browser.
I'll give an interesting example here. I believe an airline company got caught out. They were actually if they could look at the web request, they can see the operating system in the web browser. They were actually increasing the prices for Apple and MacBook users because they are perceived as having more money. That's like one little example. So using tools like this can help obscure that. So they actually, I think, got big fines for that. It's just one little example that isn't so much to do with privacy, but it's just crazy. That I found that very entertaining.
Oh yeah, that is the pricing schemes are gotten through the roof in the last years. It's pretty weird. So we gave you the options to meddle with your user agent string, where this kind of information is typically found. You can fully modify it, or you can use just some standard ones. That definitely is a thing. We also the app is designed in a privacy-first manner, and also from the perspective of somebody who is under pressure from a state or from other actors. So, for example, it always forgets your browsing history as soon as you move it in the background. That is a little inconvenient for people who are not under that pressure, but it is a necessity to keep these people secure anyway. So be with us and just flip that switch in the settings if you don't like that.
Yeah, and also if I am a malicious hacker or actor, I want to compromise someone, I really need to know what operating system or what web browser. Like if I want to install a Trojan horse or a backdoor or a virus or something, I need certain information. So if people don't know, if they know you're using a vulnerable operating system or vulnerable web browser, it helps them craft that payload. So this can actually help obscure that information, which again gives you, this is all about having layers to your protection.
Yeah, it's also that is especially important for automated attacks. Like if somebody is specific, like if you're getting targeted specifically, then like it's just a question of money. But on the other hand, the iOS platform is pretty safe. There's currently, for example, like since 3 years, there's no jailbreak out there anymore because these are the jailbreaks are any hacks getting into the system beyond an app they are getting so expensive, so difficult to do, that currently only some of the typical Israeli companies who support law enforcement have it. So that kind of capability is pretty safe on the Apple platform. However, there's one thing where the Apple platform doesn't give you safety. This is with streaming audio and video, unfortunately, because that traditionally is in an engine which is outside WebKit, and there was never the possibility to intercept that and tunnel that traffic somewhere else. So be aware if you're using audio or video streams or just playback or normal download files and playback, even these, they are not tunneled through the Anyone network. And the best case, you can see it anyway because you're not blocked. The worst case is you're getting blocked and you're just not seeing it. And the ugliest position to be in is this actually gets recorded at some state organization, and they're gonna come after you. So be careful.
And your application, forgive me for that name, Orbot, is it, or what was the name of your previous application? How many unique downloads does that have?
The application anyone browser is forked from is Onion browser. We have millions of downloads with it, millions of users.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for all your hard work. It's really great to see the fruits of your labor.
I mean, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
And thank you everyone who heard that. So thank you very much, Benjamin. That was a pleasure to speak to you, and congratulations. Our app is live, and already I can see the community downloading it and checking out some of the features as well. So fantastic. Let's maybe circle back, I think, to Anon and hear some sort of closing words on all of this.
Wow. I mean, let's just recap that again. He said over 1 million downloads. Over 1 million downloads. That is what we are trying to achieve here. And we're not going to be able to do it alone. This is where the community really needs to step up. Every single person back in my old sales company knows at least 1,000 people by name and can interact with easily 100 people. And at a minimum, if you tell 10 people of your closest friends to do something and you give them your word, they will do it. So our goal now is every single one of our 14,000, 15,000 holders, 13,000 relay operators, 10,000 plus in the Telegram. What we need to do is every single one of you need to at least guarantee me that you're going to get us 10 downloads. It's free right now. How easy is that? Hey, mom. Hey, best friend. Hey, neighbor. The governments are spying on you. We're seeing it all across the world. Agencies are spying on you. Marketing agencies are spying on you. Mossad is spying on you. Do you want to have a little bit of privacy in your life? You still locking the door when you go home? Download this app. It's free. Browse the internet without a watchdog over you. That's what we need to be doing. Let's get to this 1 million downloads. Right now it's free, but now imagine we charge $1. Imagine we take the hype revenue model and we put 97% of that back in the chart. 1 million downloads, $1 a month. How much buy pressure is that going to generate? How much revenue is that going to generate for the company to expand, to build new apps? That's the vision here. That's the goal. So it's up to not just Neurotic, DNB, and I. It's up to every single one of the astronauts. It's up to anyone to recognize how important your privacy is, how important your data is. You guys are the consumers, and you're going to reach out to other consumers to use this app. On our end, we're going to reach out to businesses. How essential is this going to be for AI agents, the future of technology and these AI bots talking to each other if they don't want to be spied upon? This is essential. This is what we need to be doing. Every single day from here on out is an opportunity to tell someone to download this app. Easy, case in point. It takes 5 freaking minutes. I see you guys in the community already using it. Works. Now is the time. We've been testing this and getting this perfect for the latter part of a year to bring this to the masses. Oh, hey, you at the coffee shop. I see you browsing the internet on this public Wi-Fi. That's a big security risk. Have you seen all these people that have been getting hacked? Have you seen people losing their credit card information? Have you seen people's emails getting... How can I prevent that? Well, here's an app that you can download that's free. Download it, use it, spread the word, share it. That's it. That's all we need to be doing. We'll do everything on our side to do the marketing. In fact, I'm going to give you a little teaser right now. We are partnering with one of the biggest Web2 companies in the entire world. You're going to about to see in the next few weeks some of the biggest names in the political space on this platform show off our device, talk about our network. That's what we're going for. We're going to surpass 1 million downloads. You're going to start seeing people that you never even expected having the hardware. Okay, but this only works with people running their traffic on the internet. It needs to be part of people's daily routine. You see these viral videos of people morning routine. I want to see you guys, the Atronauts, making morning routine videos. Wake up, check my hardware relay, open my browser app, browse the internet safely, 9:45 a.m. That's the kind of freaking network I want. I want every single one of you guys to be using it every day and telling others to use it every single day. That's all. That's always been the vision. We wanted to build something with crypto that even your grandma can use, and now it's here. Now it's here. There's no excuses. Oh, I don't want to, run a relay. I don't want to download a virtual machine. It's too complicated. Oh, I don't want to buy a crypto. Fine. All those excuses are valid. You know what's not an excuse? You have an iPhone. You have an Android phone. Everyone has a phone. Can you spend less than 5 minutes to download this app? There's no way we can take no for an answer. And now it's time to get that Atronaut spirit back. We need to be tweeting about this every day, and we need to be reaching out in real life every day. We need to be mass texting every single person in our phone book and telling them, download this app. And then me, Neurotic, DNB, we'll take care of the rest. That's what it's part to be proud to be an Atronaut. That's what it means to be part of anyone. This is the app for anyone.
I think it'd be hard for anyone to top that. For those of you who are here, I do consider you privileged to hear the hints of what's to come. This is a truly momentous day for us as a team, for you as a community, for our collective project. But it really is just the beginning of what will be genuinely mainstream adoption. I'm incredibly excited. You may want to listen to this again, honestly, for the some of the hints in there, but suffice to say, we are pumped. Thank you all very, very much. It's been a phenomenal turnout. Thank you to our speakers. Thank you to our listeners and our guests as well. We'll close the spaces here and have a wonderful rest of the day.